Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles finally got released, and what a fucking surprise. It got about what I expected it would get in terms of Rotten Tomatoes reviews, 20%.
20% positive. Out of the average rating was 4.3 out of 10 for the average rating.
The audience, and here's the thing, usually like a movie with like a name like this that gets bad reviews, the audience rating is usually much higher, and 62% audience rating is pretty
slow, you think?
Freaking dismal.
So that leads me to believe that maybe it was right then. Here's the thing about Rotten Tomatoes is that it's an aggregate score and rating of
aggregates are kind of rough. I don't necessarily love them,
but the consensus of the critics, they usually have a line or two. It's usually pretty damn accurate because they are taking 100 or more opinions, put them together, and this is what the average. So the consensus of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which means is that they basically said, what's the overall tone of the message of all the critics, put it into a blender, mix it up, pour it out into a little glass. Neither entertaining enough to recommend nor remarkably awful, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles may bear the distinction of being the dullest movie ever made about talking bipedal reptiles.
So I'm going to touch on it real quick.
Neither of us have seen it, by the way, so you can get honest for that.
Yeah. By the way, I mean, it doesn't actually bring me joy to see a Ninja Turtles movie get a bad review. I am a huge Ninja Turtles fan. As a matter of fact, my fiance got me a graded Ninja Turtles book for my birthday. I mean, I'm a big fan. I'm not
number 3.
4.
4?
4. With the cover that they then used for the Nintendo game. And I mean, I adore him to death. I love the Mirage run of comics. The early cartoon is fun. I liked some of the later cartoons. So I wish this had been good. But we all saw the signs, okay? We all saw the signs that this wasn't going to be a good movie.
Sure.
And
I'm going to shut the window while you talk.
I am... The response I keep getting from people online who want to talk to me is, well, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
That's not a recommendation.
Right. And I'm going to call someone out here, but only because he's on your website, and I'm sure he will know I mean this in good fun, but Foxhounder got a whole, said something like, wasn't as bad as I was thought, but Ian will probably still hate it. And it's like, dude, you gotta convince me with more than not as bad as you thought. Like, I can go watch any Ninja Turtles movie or cartoon or comic, and it's gonna be way better. Like,
yeah, the Archie comics will be better.
Yeah, I have no desire to pay $12 for not as bad as you thought.
I do not see movies anymore and take a gamble. I don't. It's not just the money that they cost $13 for a movie. It's my time is valuable.
Well, yeah,
I don't want to be miserable after a two-hour experience plus trailers, 2 hours and a half. I do not want to walk out miserable and have it ruin the rest of my day. I just don't.
With Vonnie, I have sort of rediscovered the joy of going to the movies, and I actually
I love movies.
I really appreciate that with her, because she seems to like going, and we've just been having fun going. But yeah, I am not that type of moviegoer who's going to be like, well, it's got a 20%, but I like the name on it, so I'm going to give it a go. And honestly, yes, I'm going to be superficial here. One of my major problems is that the Turtles look like fucking dog shit. It looks like Michael Bay took a crap and ran out into the boardroom and was like, guys, I need you to come check this out. Yo, that almost looks like Donatello. Just imagine it with a purple headband. We can make all 4 of them look like this. It's going to be great. And, I mean, no, it's not... Look, to a younger generation, if they enjoy it, cool, fine.
I don't buy that.
I don't,
go on.
I don't necessarily care because it's not marketed at me, but this is not what I remember. And I don't think a younger generation is necessarily going to like it. Part of the appeal of the Ninja Turtles was that they were kind of cute and friendly and funny, but they also knew how to kick ass.
Yeah.
And the stories were fairly developed. Look, Jesus, I mean, they talk about how this one has, like, no plot development. The first Ninja Turtles movie, people forget this. There's a whole long chunk of time where they go to a farm to regroup.
Fight. Yeah, they talk, like, it's Casey Jones and Raph brooding, and there's no fighting at all.
There's no fighting. They're like trying to learn how to be like a unit together and stuff like that, and it's fantastic. And this doesn't have it. And the only thing that people mention in the reviews that they really liked was the action scene. I guess there's there is the action scene where they're going down a snowy mountainside. But most reviews say you saw most of that in the trailers. So, like, what am I supposed to care?
I think it's a cop-out to say that this is geared towards kids. Absolute cop-out.
No,
because the best movies that are geared towards children are well-written,
and appreciated by adults.
Appreciated by adults, and they're the ones you remember 20 years from now. I fucking love Goonies.
Sure.
That's a kid's movie. It's well-written.
It's also an adult's movie. It's a movie.
Yeah, exactly. But it appeals towards kids.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I didn't feel like, wow, this should be dumbed down towards me. There shouldn't be all different characters that have good dialogue with each other. You know what I mean? Never crosses your mind. You know, how about movies that you remember that like Never-Ending Story? Adults can like it too, but that's like a kids movie though.
Yeah.
So I hate when people say, "Oh, it's a kids movie," or it's a kids cartoon.
No, but it's not. It's and that's the other thing. A lot of reviews have said, the amount of like violence, action, the downright lecherousness of the turtles in creepy ways, the whole April O'Neil thing, like, it's not really a kids movie. Like, it sits at a PG-13, and it's a PG-13. This is not a borderline PG-13 movie, is what most reviewers have said. So it's not really meant for kids either. It's trying to go after the nostalgia of the older audience, while maybe trying to catch a few kids in there, but it's betrayed the older audience, and a lot of parents aren't going to take their kids to see it.
At least get to the first weekend. We'll see. It made a lot of money the first weekend, but if there's a huge drop-off the second weekend, you'll see why, because word of mouth will be like, this is not
Well, they've already
fun.
announced the sequel, so we've got that coming, but
Sure.
who didn't expect that?
Sure, you're going to try to do that. But, all right. I'll see it on FX in a year or whenever, or in 6 months on Showtime when it comes on. You know, I'll check it out. I will. But no.
I won't.
I think when people say, like you said, when people say, well, the original one was a kid's movie. No, I mean, like, I still remember, like you said, there were scenes in it that were for like adults could appreciate.
Yeah, there were scenes so that there was character development so that adults could get into the movie as well.
And kids aren't blind to stuff like character development. And I hate when people say that.
Yes.
I always go back to the G.I. Joe cartoon from the 80s. Was geared towards kids, but it was written that adults could understand it and get something out of it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep this brief, but it's kind of the same thing. Kids aren't dumb.
No.
When parents come in and go, well, my kid just likes SpongeBob, and I go, well, it's not a good game. Yeah, but they love the character. It'll keep them happy. And I said, and I always tell, and I tell a lot of parents this, especially if they seem decent. I say, kids smell crap just as badly as we do. I said, this is going to be another one of those games that you buy, they hate and they throw in the corner. Kids can tell quality at any age.
Sure.
It's different. It's a different idea of quality, but a bad game is going to be a bad game. A bad movie is going to be a bad movie.
Think about those bad kids movies. Oh no, we can't remember because we don't fucking like them.
Right.
Those dumb movies that were geared towards kids in the 80s and 90s, I can't name them because no one talks about them and no one goes back and watches them.
Sure.